What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and hoo-wee. Tim does not get involved in drama, although I know him wearing his beanie in 80-degree weather in Mar-a-Lago got people a little hot under the collar this past weekend. But I want to talk a little bit about the drama, the back and forth between him and a former or potential Timcast IRL guest. These are two people that I've been critical of Tim in the past. This other individual, I don't really know. I know they follow me on Twitter, but I see some of their posts. They're pretty spicy. They have a clear side, in particular, in terms of what's going on over in the Middle East. I guess I'll put it that way. And I've never seen Tim unload like this before. I've never seen Tim go ballistic like this before. And I think there might be a reason why for it. Now, no disrespect to Tim at all. In fact, he has every right to do with his platform what he wants. And I think there's just more to the story that people maybe aren't seeing, because I can give you a little bit of inside baseball that, people on who don't live stream, for example, might not know. By the way, speaking of which, if you're watching this on YouTube, please give my daily live stream a chance. 5:30 Eastern. It's called Quartercast. It'll be linked in the pinned comment. You can just search up Quartercast on YouTube. It comes up. I have Styx Hexenhammer on twice a week. I have Melanie Mack on twice a week. I had Ron Coleman on yesterday. I've got a whole slew of Jimmy Dores coming on. Obviously, I've had Roseanne Barr. I've had lots and lots of guests on the show. I would love, obviously, if you would watch on that evil green site, but I care more that you tune in. So if you're open to new tech, please watch me on the Green Meanie. Otherwise, please give the channel a subscribe and just give the show a try. It's a perfect lead in to Tim's show. It's a little more lighthearted, and I really think you'll like it. Any hoozle. Tim started last night with a tweet. What a whiny effing baby. We kept stuff private and worked our rear ends off for him, and this is how he handles it. Cry more. And it was obviously a subtweet. I don't know who, at the point you don't really know who he's talking about. Well, it turns out he's talking about a very popular Twitter personality named Jake Shields. Now, he's, I guess, a former, he's not just some chump, I guess. He's a 5-time world champion, UFC, MMA. Again, I don't know a heck of a lot about him other than, I can see his tweets, and I judge some of it based on how he's interacting with Tim here. Again, I hope that both sides can just resolve this, because it'll be an interesting conversation to see. But Jake's obviously getting very, very rough, writing, Tim Pool is such a joke of a man with no principles. Last month, he told me he would let me and Nick on to debate Israel. Now, both of those individuals are fiercely, I would say, anti-Israel. And I think that debate is fine to have if you have two people that are fiercely pro on the other side, well-educated people having a good faith conversation. We were supposed to get that with Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. I don't know if either one of them were actually going to be in good faith, but nonetheless. Later, he called and said he didn't feel equipped to debate and needed to multiple Zionists for the panel. So again, I would say pro-Israel. Again, I'm not as deeply involved in this kind of stuff. You guys know that. I called him back last week to see when he wanted to do it, and he ignored my calls. Eventually, he had an employee tell me that he changed his mind. Personally, I believe a man should always keep his word. If he doesn't, at least have the balls to talk to who you lied to. These are our brave right-wing influencers. Okay, he's pretty pissed. Now, if why is this muted now? That's weird. I wonder if his account is getting I don't know, hidden or something. Anyway, Jake Shields got invited on IRL and refused to come on unless we also invited Nick, because he said he couldn't handle it alone. By the way, no shame in that. No problem with that. I said if that was the case, we can do a debate with him And Nick, no one would do it. We told Jake, and now he's crying about it. You made your own bed. So essentially he's saying, hey, I don't think, I don't like, for example, I couldn't find someone to debate him, essentially, is what he's saying. And maybe that's true. To be totally honest, maybe that's true. Look, here's the thing. I don't know if Jake in particular has some kind of reputation or things that follow him, or if he's like a risk. But Tim's got like 30 employees. And so he does have to be kind of careful about who he platforms if YouTube's going to have a problem. Now, I don't think YouTube would necessarily have a problem. There's a couple of things here. One, you could pre-record it. No problem with that. And then you stream it as a premiere. This is what I would suggest to Tim if he wants to make this happen. Record it as a premiere, and then if something gets said that's over the line, you can edit it out. And then you can put like the unedited version on timcast.com. Great way to sell a bunch of people on $10 a month memberships, and everybody wins. But I understand, again, I'm less familiar with Jake, but he does, there's stuff here, right? He says, Jake Shields is a crybaby begging to come to my show like a little wimp. Sucks, doesn't it? Tim, I never asked to come on your show because I think it's boring. I have at least a dozen emails from 3 separate booking agents of yours. He has 3 booking agents? I told them no every time. I only agreed to do it with Nick because I wanted to piss people off and help Nick get back on big shows. Okay, so I guess what I would ask Jake then is, if you didn't care, then why are you even mentioning it? Why are you so mad about it if you didn't care? Now, if Tim did, negotiate the appearance with him directly and then ghosted him, you shouldn't have done that. At least say, hey, I can't find anybody, tough luck. Then he finishes off with, you lie like a Jew. And you see a lot of people, the problem is, on Twitter right now, people are being extremely hyperbolic, extremely aggressive. There are people like Jake who has some very strong opinions on Jewish individuals. I don't like collectivism at all. I don't like it when people say all white people. It's not right when people say all black people. So when you say something like, you lie like a Jew, you clearly have an issue with that group of people. I don't think he would refute that, to be honest with you. He then said, Tim bringing on Nick, Tim told me bringing Nick on our show is unsafe for his Jewish employees. This put me in a fit of laughter, and I assume it made him feel stupid. He acted tough for a quick second and then said, F it, let's do it. It's fine. Tim doesn't want him on my show. Why lie? Tim Pool says that if you mention Nick on a podcast, quote, they're in for a world of hurt. Security, police are called. There's a $100,000 fine. Also talks about Elijah Schaefer, says that he had problems with Nick on his show and lost money over his particular views. I think what he's referring to is, of course, maybe getting swatted, things of that nature. Here's the thing with Nick. I believe he is 100% he should have a platform. He was recently unbanned on X. I think YouTube should not have banned him. I know Rumble has him, which is why that's where you should watch my live stream. But now that I said the word, YouTube's going to say, oh no. I disagree with some of the things he says, but I don't have to consume his content. Nobody does. In the same manner that Tim doesn't really have to put him on his show. I think it's being extremely disingenuous to pretend like having him on your show couldn't lead to problems down the road. YouTube obviously hates him. Mainstream media hates him. He absolutely has said some heinous stuff in the past, some very borderline stuff in the past. Again, I believe he has every right to say what he wants to say. But Tim is saying, hey, this is not worth the risk. Now, again, if he pre-recorded it and released it as a premiere during the normal live stream time slot, you could probably avoid any issues. You could also even come on the end. You could play the clip, participate in chat, come on the end, read the super chats. Oh man, he gets so many super chats. Have you followed Quartercast yet? Anyway, again, Knicks fans are extremely supportive, hyper supportive. Okay, very passionate. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, I don't think people should be getting swatted or anything like that. But again, it's wild that this is all playing out in the open. This is exactly what happened. And and I even found out Tim had two Jewish people. I found out that Tim did have two Jewish people to debate us. When he said, one he said wasn't extreme enough. He means O-N-E, okay. The other was not big enough, even though the guy was on a show the very same week. It's all a big joke. All he had to do was say he didn't want to have Nick on. I think that is a fair request of Jake Shields. Look, I'm not going to pretend. Look, I don't know what his revenue breakdown is. He obviously has his Timcast.com where he has a ton of money coming in every month. But I would still suspect that YouTube is a large portion of his revenue. I can speak from it from my perspective. I can say that I think this guy should have a platform. He shouldn't be banned off anything. But it is a massive risk for example, for me to host him on my YouTube. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't risk having to fire all 5 of my employees because whether I got directly demonetized, got a strike, which means I couldn't stream for a week, lost all that money, or got shadow ban, which is what YouTube does. And there's direct and indirect types of censorship that get deployed. I don't think that it's unrealistic for Tim to just say, hey, I can't. He's too much of a brand risk. I think he should have his platform, but I really can't risk mine. And I don't make the rules. YouTube does. End of story. I think that would be probably the better, the approach that I would take, as opposed to, going back and forth with him. Jake is very, very aggressive. Very, very, there's an interesting picture of him. I don't know, but it's this stuff, it's like, why are you calling Tim Jewish? He's not. It's stuff like this. Now, is that him? Is that Jake? Maybe, I don't care for this kind of stuff. And, I don't know. I get it why Tim can't have him on. He should just be honest about it. What is this stuff? I get it. It's just memes. But if you want Tim to have you on your show, then this is the exact opposite way to do it. I understand why Jake Shields may want to have this debate, but he's going about it all wrong. If he doesn't care, then he shouldn't be kind of spurging out or freaking out this much. If he does care, then he should, be a little more, not be memeing him and calling him Jewish and saying all this kind of stuff. You see Michael Tracy's retweeting Fox News, Daily Wire, Newsmax, the Post Millennial, PragerU, Breitbart. These are all quote unquote pro-Israel. I'm not pro. Why is it so hard? Why is it so weird to say I'm pro-America? I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want America sending money there. I don't want America getting involved. I'm pro-America. I'm pro-closing our borders. I'm pro-helping our veterans. I'm pro-stopping the flow of pills over our border. I don't really give a damn about Israel. I don't. And Tim's an American, and Tim, people point out, hey, Tim wants everyone to give up everything to fight the fight, and he won't have this guy on. I think there's definitely fair criticisms of Tim, and there's, I think that this Jake Shields guy probably went a little too hard, but to expect Tim to have some guy who's almost certainly going to negatively affect his business just to what? To prove a point? It's like people that give me the business about, using substitute words on YouTube. It's like, well, people understand the point, and it's not any kind of big own for me to say the word and reach half as many people or you know, because they cut your reach when they do that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I definitely understand where Tim's coming from here. I wish that these two could have worked it out, but I've never seen Tim this mad before. I've literally never seen him like going this hard on anybody. Like, he's tweeting all night. We literally told him, that's why I said it has to be debate show if you want to talk about Jewish folks. When no one would agree to it, we told him we can't because we just can't get banned, because we just get banned, and he got pissed. He didn't even need to drag you into it. Whoever this individual is, apparently Nick. I mean, you lie like a Jew. This is Jake Shields. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Tim get this pissed off before. But, you know, I think he should have just said, well, we can't have him on, obviously. End of story. Or pre-record it or host it on Rumble only, which even then, I don't know if YouTube's watching and still would try to put the screws to you. So I understand where Tim's coming from. I understand where Jake's coming from. But I think it's best that maybe they just host it on Rumble. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.